Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Locuradaizy, and today I am continuing with my series on building on my Newcrest world. And I wanted to build a business using business and hobbies. But as I continue on my build, I realized it would work better as a residential lot, so I did that. So I made it a residential lot at the end just for gameplay purposes. And I'm going to continue with the style of my world, which is like a Spanish style. And the inspiration for this build was in San Diego, there's this old Navy base that was converted into like this giant shopping center. And it just has a bunch of different businesses in it. And I thought that would be fun to build. And as I'm building it, I realized that gameplay wise, it was going to be really hard to have a business with like a gym, like all the things that business and hobbies offers, like the classes, the pottery studio, and things like that. So that's why I made it into a rec center instead. But I think later on I'm gonna make individual businesses because I think that sounds really fun. And I'm really enjoying these builds, but also realize that it's really hard to build and speak at the same time. So that's why I'm doing a voiceover, and I want to see how that works out. But talking for 20 minutes is kind of hard, as I've tried to do this like 5 times already. And I am probably going to have some quiet moments in this voiceover. Anyways, I'm rambling, and that's it. I'm just kidding. For this building, I wanted to, as I said, make it into a Spanish style. And for this first part of the roof, I didn't know how to have a roof and make it kind of flat because I wanted to add other things. So I did a couple configurations, and I think that will be the end product. And then for the other two roofs, I just did half walls. And then I added the little freezes, or what are they called? Oh my god, I keep going back to the video and trying to click on the object to read the name. So that's funny. And so I added the little wall freezes. I don't know what they're called. And then I added little AC units to make it more realistic. And then I did the little chimneys, and I just added some decor to make it more realistic of on top of a building. And I added these flags that I later on took off because I was trying to keep the packs of minimal. So I think I used the business hobbies and then the base game. And then I think spa day because I wanted a specific shower. But so at the end, I took those flags out, and then so they won't be there. And then I added some archways to make it look more Spanish styles. Oh gosh, I'm gonna say that all the time. That's gonna be annoying. And then I added these little details to add more dimension to the outside of the building because it was looking a little flat. And yeah, now I see. How do people talk for 20 minutes? I don't know. Anyways, I am gonna add these wall hooks to add more details to the building. Okay, so I added these roofs for obviously for aesthetic reasons, but also kind of to pretend that you have some shade covering in a sense. And then I put that pebble texture on top of the roof. And then I go and add more arches to the other side so there's a clear pathway to inside the building. And then I move on with fencing. I use the new business and hobby fence to fence the sides. So there's other points of entry, and also it looks really nice. And then I added more of those little arch thingies or squares or decor pieces, a facade. I don't know. I should probably Google more exterior names or actual, like the proper names. I don't know. Anyways, I'm doing this for fun. So I am just speaking nonsense at this point. Anyways, that is my favorite word at the moment. So I changed the railings for the half walls to a darker stone, I believe, and then I do the business and hobby roof. What's it called? The exterior roof. So very technical here. And then I did the palette exterior. So to add to different dimensions in the exterior walls. So I did the base game wallpaper, and then I went and I did the business and hobby stucco one, I believe, or the plaster. And I really like this bold color, and it kind of stands out, especially when you see the other two buildings right next to it. So I do this to all the walls in the exterior, and then I use the business and hobby door for two of the walkways, and then I went back and used the base game doors for the other ones, and then I used the business and hobby windows as well because I like the whole look of like old meets new, so it makes it look like you renovated this old building, but you kept some of like the original details of it. That's why I chose like both like the modern and then the older ones. And then I went back and started to do the exterior walkway. So I did the pavement, the paves, because in obviously San Diego there's a bunch of stonework. So they use a lot of these stone pathways. So I thought that would be great aesthetically. And then I started I keep doing the pathways, and then I'll start working on the exterior, obviously. And I added a fountain because I thought it would be really nice to have like a focal point in the middle. And then I went into debug and I started finding a bunch of random things. I was like, oh, that looks nice. I'll get that. And this took me like 2 hours just going through debug and just looking at everything because I never use debug. I'm kind of like that lazy person when it comes to like build. Sometimes, like especially when I'm just doing gameplay, I'm just like, I don't really care. I'm not going to see the outside of this house, so I don't really go into like real details or go into debug. Or I just find a cool house in the gallery and use that, and then just kind of modify it for how I play the game, you know? And I found this cool debug fence, and I did that on the side, and then I found these boxes, and then the trees, and then I found that sign I thought would be perfect for the front. And then I added some of the base game lighting. I thought it would be perfect for like a community lot, and then I try to copy the surrounding landscape and try to layer it. And then I use move objects, so I kind of stacked all the greenery together. It was pretty fun. I really enjoyed building the outside of this because I never really do gardens like this. I guess I don't really like the previous houses were pretty deserty, minimal because I was trying to keep a budget. But for here, I was just like, it's a community lot. I can put whatever I want. So in San Diego, a lot of the yards are kind of, all the exterior stuff's pretty landscaped and, you know, pretty. And then I added debug lights. I added the bush, that new bush that you got with the lights. I thought that was pretty. And then I used that little thin fencing just to kind of split things. We're moving to the inside, and I did these stairs so it would look like they were originally there. So I did the terracotta ones with like the tiles in the front. And this part, obviously, as you can see, it's going to be the gym of the rec center. So originally I wanted to make this business and have like someone own the gym, but then I found all the other stuff I wanted to add. So I just made it a rec center. I added some more business and hobbies like decor. I added that little ticket machine. I don't know if you can actually use it for the rec center, but I thought it would be fun and nice to have like this little computer in the front. And then this is where I go to the bathroom. This is the spa day showers. And I did a couple configurations because I couldn't figure out how to put the bathroom stalls. So then I just did these little cubbies, and then I used the skinny little doors from the business and hobby from that pack. And I just kind of made it a simple bathroom that because you needed a shower and things like that for a rec center. And then I move on to the tattoo place. This was kind of fun because it's really dark and moody, and I wanted to add this little bar, added these chairs from the same pack. And then I'm just moving around the table so at least a couple Sims can practice tattooing and make awful tattoos. And then I use that concrete flooring from that same pack. And then I just added some rugs. I really like these new rugs. I haven't really looked at all the stuff in the pack, so when I was building, it was fun looking at all the things that came with it because I was trying to finish my last build, that culty house. So I never looked at it because I was trying to, as I was continuing, I was trying to keep it minimal packs in that one. Oh, actually, no, I was doing whatever I wanted. I was using whatever packs. So, but I avoided the new business and hobbies items because I wanted to do a build for that. And then I added that little sign to make it look like those light transfer panels, like how the tracer lights. So like when the trace thing, you have the light thing. I don't know what the name of it is. I don't know. I don't have any tattoos, so I'm a baby. It freaks me out. But my husband has all the tattoos. And he's like, they don't hurt. I don't know. I'm sure they don't, but I'm a baby. And then I move on to the center of the place, and I just add little tables for so the Sims have somewhere to sit basically. And then I move upstairs. Well, this speed build is fast. So on the left side, I built a little bathroom, and then in the center, I love how I could put giant windows, and I was like, oh, it has to be the art studio. So I just kind of find random stuff in debug and in the catalog and just add it. And I use that tattoo table, that would be a cool little bench for like a garage or something. And yeah, so I use that for like a table. I put the book to make it look like, they're drawing. I also add a woodworking table, another, skill building item that I could use. And then I realized I added those little lights, and that's all I added. I forgot to continue on the other sides, but I left it. I'm like, okay, I guess it's just one-sided fairy lights. And then I am trying to figure out which chairs to use for these chess tables. And I was trying to use like the business and hobby chairs, but they didn't work in the beginning. And I realized, oh, it was just facing the wrong way. So then I went back and changed those. I added a piano because it came with the pack. And I was like, oh, this is pretty piano. I was like, okay, music, another a skill building object. And then I go back and just add the flooring and copy the same tile as the other bathroom. And I'm just trying to keep everything kind of cohesive. And then this wall was super blank, so I added a painting. And then I added the mentoring or teaching class board, and then I added just a couple of desks. Just kept it really simple, to be honest. And because, they can come in here and teach a class, and then that way you don't have like a whole building just for teaching class. You just have this little corner. You can come and teach whatever you want. And it's pretty easy just to switch it out. Or if you want to teach a pattern class, you can just move it to the other side. And then I added like some decor in the side. I didn't know what to put, to be honest. And then this was the pottery studio. And this was kind of weird. I still haven't played with any of these, so I was just trying to make sure the Sims could walk around and try to make it functional, but also kind of fill up the space. And then I added this blue swatch, which I thought was really pretty. And then this gnomes gallery sticker thing was kind of cool. And I was like, okay, I'll add it. And then I go back to debug, and then I find all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, let's put this. And then I did that little shelf trick because I found these sponges. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Because you would kind of leave all this stuff in everywhere, I think. I took like a ceramics class in high school, so there was always a bunch of like sponges and glaze and paintbrushes, stuff like that everywhere. So that's what I did. And then I tried to find that glaze bottles and those paint bottles in debug. It took me forever because I was like, where are they? So that's why I started adding random things. I found that raccoon poster, which was funny. So then I added some more bottles, and then I move on to the other side where the music stuff is. And I realized I didn't have a bookshelf, so I added some bookshelves. And then I go to the back because I just kept bopping around and realizing, oh, I missed this, I missed that, And then I add lighting, I believe, or no. What am I doing? Oh, I'm reorganizing the back. So, because you also need a playground. And then I found these trees, and I was like, oh, these trees are beautiful. So I tried to keep them. And then I found that debug little sign, which I thought would be perfect for like a city. And make it look like, hey, this is where you are, or, And then I added some grills because, Sims have to grill when they're out and about. So free food, I figured. And then some seating area for them to sit and eat their hot dogs. Oh, and then I finished the back of this, and I add the same like railings and the wall hangings, and then I add more windows to this back wall because it was pretty empty. And then I add the lights that I've been using everywhere. Oh, here I go, jump back inside, and I realized I wanted a coffee maker and a microwave for them to eat something. So I do that. And then I put a vending machine downstairs too, so they have some other areas where they can actually grab food. So now I'm just going back and just filling up, adding more decor to areas I forgot to add things where I'm like, oh, this wall's kind of empty. Let me add some rugs and stuff like that. And then I go back and add all like the little signs. And I think these signs are so much fun. They add so much to like a building in general. And I feel like you can use these in a lot of places. Also, these planners are really cool because they can also be like a wall divider. And then this is the new swing set from the pack. And I forgot they had it. So then I saw it. I'm like, oh, I need to add that too. And then I just kind of add more little random things. So like more planter boxes, bathroom signs, and then I add more of this like wall decor to fill up the empty areas. And then I'm just finishing up with some terrain paint just to make it look like it's more livable. And that is pretty much my build. I hope you like it, and I hope you enjoyed my chit-chatting and this chaos, and I'm starting to realize this might be a little too fast. But yeah, I really like this. I like the colors. I like how this came out. It looks pretty like cohesive and done. So this was fun. I enjoyed it, and this whole speed build actually was. This whole voiceover thing was pretty fun, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.